In this video, I'm going to try to take you guys to every single Pokemon card vendor at the biggest Pokemon card convention in Canada. The show is hosted by Bosa Productions. It takes place in Langley, a city in the Metro Vancouver area. Really like this show because of how spacious it is. I believe this takes place at the Langley Sports Convention Center, so this means there's a lot of vendors, a lot of different variety, and definitely in more recent years a lot more Pokemon card vendors. I've been going to these shows for over a year now, but I have to say every time I come it feels like there's more and more Pokemon stuff and maybe a little bit less of the sport card stuff. So this is really nice to see, especially being a Pokemon enthusiast. And I'll try to show you guys all the products that I saw, all the slabs, or as many slabs as I can, the sealed product that they have, and as well as the binders, which is a lot of people's favorites. There's a good mix of these bigger stores such as Pastime and House of Cards, as well as the sort of LGS stores such as everything J&J. But I have to say, as a buyer, I typically like to check out the LGS booth as well as the local vendors, just because I feel like they can give out a better price. Even just a minute into editing this video, I'm seeing some crazy Pokemon cards. A lot of these are the most sought after chase cards in its respective era, so I'm seeing a lot of modern chases, but also a bunch of vintage holos, a lot of WotC era packs, some mid-era packs. I feel like a lot of these are pretty decently priced too, so keep in mind this is actually in CAD, so not USD. And the current booth I'm showing you guys right now is everything J&J's booth. They always got some crazy cards, a huge selection, one of my favorite LGS stores in the Metro Vancouver area. I always shout them out. I've done many smooth deals with them. Huge shout out to Jesse, Derek, as well as Jason. But yeah, everything J&J always has an impressive spread. I was actually really contemplating on picking up some of those PSA 9 gold stars. To be specific, it was either the Entei gold star or the Raikou gold star, since I already have the Suicune gold star, so I would have been able to complete the legendary dog trio. But those prices are a little too high still right now given the market conditions. They're about 1K per gold star. You know, even though it's a gold star, I still think it's a little too high right now to pick up, but nonetheless, always fun to check out these guys, you know, very friendly. So I've shown a lot of sealed product as well as a lot of slabs so far. So let's take a look at their binders. Of course, you know, everything J&J has really organized binders. A lot of modern stuff you guys can see here, mainly comprised of the Scarlet and Violet as well as the Sword and Shield era stuff. Very cool to see a lot of these cards I actually never seen in person. So yeah, whether you're trying to pick up a nice looking alt art or ultra rare card, or you're just trying to complete your master set, definitely I think singles are the way to go. But yeah, very nice to see. Always appreciate the more modern cards as well. But yeah, moving on, you know, there's so many different cards from all generations. As I said earlier, the neighboring booth next to J&J had a lot of sealed product as well. Some very cool ETBs. I saw that Sword and Shield ETB, but there's so many unique kind of products here, like stuff that you won't get to see at your local Walmart. So I think definitely worth visiting. One of the reasons actually that I really like going here is because each booth is quite unique. But for myself personally, today I'm trying to hunt down some mid-era EX as well as level X PSA 9 cards. So we'll see how I do. But what really caught my eyes, check out this booth. They had a first edition Charizard PSA 9. Absolutely crazy to see at a local card show like this. Definitely a personal grail and as well as a long-term goal. Not sure when I can afford a card like that, but you know, definitely really nice to see. You know, more recently I've been appreciating Japanese cards as well. After my trip to Japan, I really like the holo patterning of these cards. You know, even the mid-era stuff, you know, that I kind of grew up with. Never had any Japanese cards as a kid, but seeing these cards in person made me really want to pick up some. I think the other appeal aside from the holo patterning is the better print quality, but also a lot of the artworks are limited to Japan only. So I think that is a huge advantage of collecting Japanese cards. So that's something I think I do want to slowly start, but I'm trying my best to lower my collection goals and try to actually complete some collection goals. So right now I think my focus is at least still the middle era PSA 9 cards. But yeah, very cool to see nonetheless. Definitely always fun just browsing cards and flipping through these binder pages. So yeah, if you guys see any really cool cards, let me know what your favorite card was, or if I didn't see something that was really I guess freaking cool, do comment it below. I do want to rewatch this because I know there's so many different cards, and I'm trying to not go too fast without making the video go too long. But there's just so many vendors here, and there's so many different cards to see. A lot of these cards are very sort of sought after as well, so I know that there are people watching this that would be interested, so I don't want to skip over it too quickly. And this next booth really caught my eye. I thought they had a lot of really nice product. I know I say that a lot about every booth, but here they got the Poncho Pikachu, the Giratina, the Blaziken Alt Arts, the Moonbreons. Very nice to see, honestly. Just anytime I see these high-end cards, not just high-end, but really nice artwork as well. I guess that's why, at least in part, why they're so pricey. But here you can see it's not just PSA slabs they got CGC, Beckett as well. I even saw a few black labels earlier. Another observation I noticed was that this show had a lot more sealed product than usual. You know, I'm not sure it's because people like ripping a lot, or there's just a lot of inventory of sealed product from these stores, but I think it is pretty good overall. You know, prices are slightly higher than MSRP for some of the less sought after stuff, but obviously, you know, it's mostly market price for things like 151 or Prismatic. So this next vendor is run by a very friendly couple. I bought a lot of cards from them in the past. They give pretty good deals, very fair. A lot of these cards were super clean as well. That's why I really like coming here. I bought a lot of XY full arts from them. I actually think XY full arts are, you know, they have some really nice arts. I really like the texture patterning on them. I think they look way better than the current full arts, just my personal opinion. And I think they're somewhat underappreciated. I think they're also quite hard to grade. So whenever I see some very clean full arts from the XY era, I generally pick them up. So, you know, I was really hyped at these cards. A lot of them are very sought after in my opinion. I think the art looks great, so I did, I believe, pick up some of these cards. And I remember I was picking up some of these PSA 9 cards on auctions for less than $50. So it was literally almost the price of grading. So I thought that was a little ridiculous, but nonetheless, you know, I think a lot of those cards have gone up in value. So maybe that was the right play. Moving on, I think a lot of these card shows, or these vendors at these card shows, mainly carry more modern stuff. I mean, I guess that makes sense. It's more accessible. So, you know, if you're trying to complete your set, this is definitely probably the cheapest way to do so, since you are saving a lot of money on shipping costs that would have costed like almost as much as the card for a lot of the sort of cheaper ultra rares. And I also noticed a lot of these vendors now have bulk bins, so you can go dig through their bulk, and they're usually pretty well priced, and I think it's definitely cheaper than you trying to find those cards online. So this booth had some CP6, I believe, so that's the XY evolution equivalent in Japanese. And honestly, they had some really nice arts. I think they were pretty reasonably priced as well. So what I noticed is there's a couple of booths here that are all full Japanese cards, so they don't sell any English cards. You know, I thought that was pretty unique. I guess they specialize in that. Also, this booth had a lot of XY and Sun and Moon stuff, some sealed product, and I was eyeing down that base set blister pack. And I believe that blister pack even had a 7-Eleven sticker on it for $4. I always found that so fascinating that, you know, the person never took off the sticker, and imagine if you can pick it up for those prices today. But yeah, overall, I think this card show has super good energy. I think a lot of people are having fun. I see a lot of packs being ripped and a lot of sort of cheering, so I think people are pulling really nice stuff here. Of course, always happy to see people having fun in this hobby. And this next binder was actually one of my favorite binders that I looked through. Just look at those middle era stuff. We got the Arceus level X, we got EX cards, we got some X and Y full arts, and of course you got the more modern full arts as well. Gold cards, you know, you name it. You even got some vintage WotC era stuff mixed in as well. A little messy, but nonetheless really nice to see all these different eras come together in one big binder. And of course, you know, we got more slabs. I feel like definitely this time around there was a lot more slabs. Maybe it's because PSA has been open for a little longer now. So a lot of people are grading their cards. Maybe it's the Pokemon hype that's coming around again. A lot of people are back into grading. I feel like it wasn't as popular maybe like 4 years ago since PSA was shut down, but yeah, just check out the caliber of cards here. I think this is definitely one of Canada's best card shows for a reason. So many people do come here and sell or trade their cards or buy cards, obviously. And honestly, I think it's definitely very well run. It's very smooth. There's constantly giveaways. I won a Surging Sparks ETB at the last event, actually. So that was really fun. I never really win any of those raffles. And here's a whole binder full of ultra rares. I really like those tag team cards. I think they're making a comeback right now. But yeah, so many Charizards, full arts, alt arts, a lot of Crown Zenith cards, which I really like. I think that's a really good modern set. I bought some recently, and check out some of those gold cards, especially I think there was an Execute here gold card. One of the earlier sort of secret rare cards. You got prime cards, level X cards, EX cards. Very cool binder. You know, more slabs on slabs. A lot of very sought after slabs. And, you know, I decided to try some luck. Fellow channel viewer of mine, Sunny Bunny, we did a little trade. He gave me an extra $1. So I decided to try out this vending machine to see if I can actually get a holo card out. And to my surprise, and it seems like we actually pulled the chase card out of this vending machine, which is the Gardevoir art rare. Even people beside me were congratulating me like I had any kind of real contribution to it, but it was super fun, and thanks to the vendor for a great experience. So I really also like flipping through these slab binders. I think they're a really nice idea. I don't know if I would collect my cards this way, but just browsing cards like this is quite satisfying. I actually bought from this booth previously. I did purchase a level X card from this gentleman, but unfortunately, I think they had a couple other level X that I was interested in. I didn't buy it at the last show. Seems like they all sold out, which is unfortunate. A lot of the mid-era stuff I've been having a lot of trouble finding today at this show. Most booths didn't have any EX or level X cards at a PSA 9 grade. So I think definitely a little bit of interest has shifted towards the middle era stuff. I feel like when I was collecting it more back in a couple years ago, no one was really looking for them. But I think now people are starting to catch on, or people sort of, I guess, my age are coming back into the hobby and they grew up during that era. That's just my hypothesis, but yeah, who knows? So this binder, again, a lot of very nice cards. Like I keep saying the same words. I know I must sound like a broken record, but it's just so overwhelming the amount of cards these guys have. Hopefully making this video, it shows you guys what kind of cards are available at these shows. And you know, if you guys have a chance, it might be worth visiting, even if you have to drive out a little bit, or you know, even just taking a flight to one of these shows. Maybe Collecticon in the US. I know those shows are a lot bigger and more established. I think it's definitely worth it. I know I was sort of blown away in my first card show, so I've kind of became addicted, so I've been going to most card shows ever since. I think it's also a really nice opportunity to meet new people, make new friends, chat with the vendors, get some different perspectives. I definitely think this hobby is quite a bit more interactive this way. So we moved on to the next booth, and this one had a pretty interesting slab box. I kind of like these since usually these are sort of the lower to mid-end slabs. So I guess nothing too crazy here, but you never know. I did manage to pick out some nice slabs in my first card show that I ever went to, and I really like how cheaply priced a lot of these slabs are. I feel like a lot of these cards are pretty nice cards, to be honest. Just maybe not the highest grades, or maybe they're just not sort of the exact chase cards that most people look for. But this is a really nice Tyranitar. Huge fan of that card. But yeah, I was just mainly looking for anything like maybe XY or Sun and Moon full arts that are like around the $50 to $100 mark. But unfortunately, I don't think I found anything too interesting here, but still really fun to browse through. So yeah, I feel like as a, you know, if you're a newer collector, I think it's definitely a great opportunity to visit the card shows and see really what cards are out there. Sometimes you don't know you actually like a card until you see it in person. I know it has happened to me a few times. So, you know, I do think looking at these cards raw, or I guess graded, whatever floats your boat, is definitely a huge advantage of being in person and actually get to visually inspect the cards. The cards are this spoof were mainly more modern cards with a little bit of sort of middle era stuff sprinkled in, but this binder caught my attention. Just look at those Arceus cards. You know, I really like how this one had a nice mix of sort of Heart Gold Soul Silver, Diamond and Pearl era, and Platinum, and also some EX era cards. Very nice to see this whole spread right here. And honestly, you know, I've been picking up some of those Arceus cards. I really like the design of those. I think they're actually not the easiest to pull, but you know, I think level X's are definitely harder to pull, but I think they're somewhat underrated. I think you can pick them up pretty cheaply. Yeah, so flipping through these binders, it felt like I was teleported back into my childhood. These were the type of cards I was pulling. None of those ultra rares, those shiny cards. I feel like I was just pulling, you know, pretty standard holo cards, reverses, nothing too crazy. Some of you guys may know, as a kid, I only collected cards that had over 100 HP. So that was sort of my main requirement for me to actually like a card and collect it. And, you know, a lot of these cards I feel like I've actually seen in my hands when I was a kid. And so moving on, we're going to check out another slab binder. Love these, you know, love seeing all these slabs, and a lot of them are pretty decent grades. I was really hoping that some of these level X's were actually PSA 9s, but unfortunately not. You know, I'm just trying to see if there's any good deals on 9s in general sometimes. I feel like, you know, if it's a pretty cheap card and it's sort of, I think, underrated in my opinion, then I might pick it up, you know. I feel like $50 is not too bad for a already graded card. And yeah, you guys can see there's more and more heat here. We got vintage cards, we got a bunch of alt arts and modern cards as well, and just very nice looking cards in general, very aesthetically pleasing. Of course, you know, tons of sealed product here. I did manage to buy one of those shining Raichu GX boxes late last year for only $150 Canadian. I believe now they're almost double that price. So it's crazy how many products actually double just over the course of a few months. So that's pretty crazy. But here, you know, just crazy amount of alt arts. You got the Unigaba cards. I love those designs. Have yet to own any of them yet though. I feel like the biggest challenge for me definitely when I come is to try and not buy everything. I am very tempted to buy a lot of those slabs. I think they're definitely, a lot of them are part of my long-term collection goals, but you just gotta stay focused. You know, I think with this hobby, you guys can see how diverse it is, how many actual like really nice cards there are out there. I think the biggest thing is just try to be focused and fulfill your collection goals first. You know, I feel like if you try to go for everything, you're not going to actually achieve what you set out to sort of complete. So definitely go for your most desired goals first, and then I think that way you can actually you know, knock a lot of cards off your sort of checklist. And also do let me know what you guys collect. I'm always very interested. I feel like it's a great sort of opportunity for me to learn more about different collection goals and, you know, see if I want to integrate some of those into my own collection goals, and maybe vice versa. So moving on to this next booth, there's a lot of more modern, just regular EX cards, GX cards here. And you know, it moves into some vintage cards, but then back into a lot of Sword and Shield, a lot of these sort of art rare cards. Nothing like crazy rare, nothing alt art or anything, but mainly just maybe some of the more basic cards. And once again, we're checking out another slab binder. Definitely can't get enough of these. I feel like it's really sort of an affordable alternative if you're just looking to get your first slab, or you know, see if you actually like collecting slabs. I think it's definitely a good idea to give that a try since you're not investing too much into it. But yeah, check out all these different sealed products that these guys have. A lot of sort of Sword and Shield era stuff. I was eyeing down that Sea to Sky box and a lot of those Crown Zenith packs. I think those are some pretty decent value for the most part. But yeah, it's interesting to see people also selling other languages, such as those Chinese 151 packs. Never seen that before. Didn't even really know that you can buy those here. But yeah, I saw a lot of people buying those Jolteon or those Evolution premium collection boxes, those ones that came with the alt arts. I think it's a beautiful box, but fortunately I passed up on so many opportunities when I saw it back at Walmart a few years ago now, I guess. But yeah, would love to pick it up again if prices come down just a little bit. But yeah, another slab binder here, actually really good quality slabs. I feel like definitely a bit more on the higher end side for a slab binder. See those alt arts, a lot of those sort of middle era stuff. But finally, look at what I found. Did manage to actually find one of these Metagross EX cards, and I actually got a pretty good deal on this. So I paid $180, I believe, for this card. I think recent solds were all above 200. And so yeah, I think I was super stoked about that. That was my sort of main purchase of the day. Yeah, and thank you guys so much for actually making it this far. I'm pretty sure only like 2 people would actually make it this far, so I really appreciate it. Please leave a like on this video if you guys did enjoy it, subscribe if you guys want to, and feel free to check out the affiliate links in the description below. They lead to websites that I constantly use and trust. And yeah, with that being said, thank you guys again so much for checking out this video, and I hope to see you guys on another one. Peace out.